Welcome to Relatively Speaking 2020. My name is Robert. We're going to do a collective reading today. And if you are not aware, we are actually in one particular timeline right now where it is reflecting and refracting on top of each other. So as we move on the timeline, we have those in a template on top, some more in a blissful energy, some more in the shadow work realm. And as we move, they inversely affect each other like a mirror. So, and this path is actually moving us forward. So we are in two different templates. We have a divine masculine, we have a logical, we have an AI, we have artificial intelligence. We also have a divine feminine. We have the divine feminine, the intuitive side, the actual intelligence instead of a logical in a way, in a sense. Not to say that divine masculines aren't intelligent. But what we're looking at in the general sense is that we go in between them with a sine or cosine wave. A lot of us dip in between them, and so sometimes we go back through the energy work itself, we go back through the shadow work, and some of us are in a full spectrum space so that we are able to now traverse through them without it inversely affecting us in a certain way. So I'm going to actually draw two cards from the Good Reverie deck. Again, these cards do not have a drawing book completely between it. I'm going to do a template one on one side and a template two on the other side, so you can see how the energies themselves are influenced and they're actually affecting each other. Now, that doesn't mean to say that there's other timelines playing out. They are, but they're, again, some lean towards a certain side, some lean towards the other side. And if you're not aware, heaven and hell are vibrational frequencies instead of actual places. And they are manifested into our actual space as a reality space. So hell being more of the lower vibes, the shame, the guilt, fear, and heaven being more of the blissful energy, the creation type energy, the extra confidence, right? And it's not to say that we don't go back and forth in between them as we do shadow work. But again, so these are two different patterns that are playing out, a yin and a yang. And full spectrum means that you are sitting in dharma instead of karmic lines, and you're more into the full spectrum side. So in essence, there will actually be a third bridging in here in the middle. I'm only using 4 decks right now. So right now I'm going to use the Gilded Reverie deck. Let's see what comes out for the first one. Template on the left. And we'll designate each one. So one on the left, we're going to designate as the more of the creative aspect. The one on the left will be more of the creative one. Typically, the one on the left will be more of the logical side brain. But we're going to do it as the inverse right now. We're going to do it as more of a creative, logically creative inverse. And the one on the right will be more of the logical side, more of what we typically see as the masculine side, the builder side, the 3D template, more of what the collective sees in the 3D world, right? Whereas those that are into more of the spiritual side of things, they're going to see and feel more of the astral. That will be on the left side as the creative side. Card. If it doesn't, I will just cut and actually draw. Okay, so I'm going to do the reverse for these because they do have different things. So for the left side, we have the divine feminine one, which is 11 right now. It's also the Ace of Spades on here, which would be your Ace of Swords, which would be your swift moving and actually more of the like a message coming in, but an opportunity. So there's an opportunity coming in right now for the divine feminine in a way, the ones that are a little bit more into a balance. They're in a balance middle, and I say 11 because, again, 29 is 11. We don't break that number down. It is a master number. It's a balanced number right now. So we have the Ace of Spades right now, which is your swords, Ace of Swords, which is, again, your opportunity for a new, swift-moving, usually a business transaction, or even, again, standing in our own ability of power, right? And on the left or the right side, which we're using more of the logical side, those in the collective that may just see more of the 3D world. We actually have this very clever thoughts here. It is upturned, meaning that, again, the cleverness that the collective may have been using before, those in the 3D realm, those within, again, it's some people say we're in a battle. We're actually not battling. We're battling one way ourselves, right? We're the one that's creating this reality space. There is no us and them. It is all us. It is all us together in a way. Right? We are, again, talking about unity. So this is also the Nine of Clubs, which would be the Nine of Wands on here, which is more of a completion in a way, but also this kind of heaviness where they're trudging through and actually looking to build something, and it's coming to a completion, but in a 3D sense, in 3D terms. We have 14, which is 5, which is a change, right? So a change in the way the cleverness fits. This fox is looking off like he just ready to defend the hen house, but he's not in the hen house anymore, right? This fox is very much looking off as if they want to, but hasn't kind of been booted out of that, right? They're being pushed into healing, into more of the middle path, which is the spirituality. And I'm going to say there is something we can have toxic spirituality. We can have the spiritual side where it's all love and light instead of the middle path, which is more of this lover and the warrior mentality. So I'm going to use those two cards as the template for it. We're going to look at the Akashic record. I'm going to do a past, present, future for each line here. So each template that we're going through. And I did pre-shuffle these already. We're going to go through and see where the energies are, and I'm going to have the energy itself, the elemental energy that is surrounding it, will be down this middle path, and also a oracle card. I have the Starry Beginnings one, and I have to say it was a very good deck that was gifted to me anonymously for somebody actually did. And it purchased it, so thank you very much, and gratitude for that person as well. And we'll see what spirit comes up with now. There we go. Past, present, future, we actually have 2 cards. So, for the feminine archetype here, or I would say the more spiritual side archetype, the more intuitive side, if you're following that, if you're very much into your intuition, you're in a flow state. It's not to say that the other archetype's bad. Again, there is no good and bad. There is no evil. There is no good and evil in a way, or black and white. It's more of the shades of gray as we merge together, right? Neither timeline is actually being destroyed. We're actually merging them together. Going to create something new, a third place. Try it, right? It's a third actual path. So what we have here is we have 22. We have Atson. So again, this is talking about spirit guides in a way. But 22 is actually the number, again, of the duality both within ourselves and within the person. So we're actually seeing the duality, the feminine and masculine energies in ourselves, but we come to the journey. It must be met in ourself first before you have an actual physical one. And also, this is getting messages from spirit realm. And also not to be distracted. You can kind of see the girl on here. She's a little distracted. She's reading a book, but she's not quite paying attention to the book. She's in a way listening to the whispers of the angelics that are by her, but also the inner child, right? We all want to explore that inner child part, but also the learning more. So it's not actually a bad part. Atson is actually asking us to pay attention to that spirit realm, pay attention to the sprites, but not overdo it, because there is still 3D work within here, more things that we can learn. Again, this is a school of life. That's what Earth is. And if you're not learning, then you're not progressing in a way. So everything is a learning moment. Everything in the world itself is a mirror. What we put out does come back. So this is talking more about balancing the energies, again, between the spirit that we see in astral, a lot of dreams. I feel like a lot of the collective that are in this more of the flow type energy, the intuition side, are actually experiencing more astral building, more dream building, and then bringing it in. Maybe more synchronicities, because again, 22 in it. So we have 11 and 22. And we do have the one of keys, the architect, right? This is actually a new beginning that hasn't manifested in yet. It's actually being built. And it may seem like what we're building right now as a one of key, right? One key. Asking us to take this new beginning and start building with ourselves in a way first, but also realizing that we may have to, in a way, change the script and what we thought we wanted to build and for what reasoning, right? We don't have to actually build with more than one person. We can build first with ourselves, what our path is, we intentionize, we put it down there, and it unlocks. This is something in the works right now, the architect, right? This is actually part of building the pyramids on here. A lot of the Egyptian cities, see? It is in reverse, like I said. So it's something that is in the works. It's not quite there yet. We're still, collective is still working on it. However, it is on track. So we have 1-1, we have another 11 now. We do have it on track. We actually have the, even though it may feel, I feel like a lot of us are a little frustrated with not moving forward with our particular paradigm, our foundation, what we're doing, because we're trying to combine the 3D world into the spiritual and in a way that we could, with the current paradigm running the monetary system, to actually facilitate stability, right? So that is this all of these cards right now are actually saying stability on this side, because we have 11, we have 29, we have 22, which is on the master number. We have 1-1, which is another 11. So we're actually right on track with building the specifics, and to keep kind of in a way I say pushing forward. This person is waiting for the train. The train is on the track. It's on time. Everything is divinely timed on this and divinely guided. So as much as it may feel frustrating or stagnant at times, or it's just not, we're not seeing what we desire in a way manifest in, think of it as the best comes last, right? Some people like to eat the dessert first, and some people like to save it for last. Some people like to savor it, right? And have that taste at the last moment, kind of the climax in a way to the actual story, right? We are writing a story. It's a story time. And if you're also interested, please check out the other videos with story time. Maybe the one with a podcast. And I may actually change the format on Anchor FM, so I may have to actually change the way that I record that for story time. But until then, I can actually upload them here onto YouTube, and we'll get a different format. So I'm going to, Spirit has stayed for the other template here. I'm going to draw 3 cards for the more of the clever but 3D aspect that we're seeing, a lot of the 3D world that we're seeing in a way. This one actually turned upside down. First, that one. That is also a new beginning there. We have the light of the world. And again, these are past, present, future. So past being, again, 22, us paying more attention to an aspect of the divine world, the spiritual world. And then we also have the architect in the present, right? We're in a way, we're building, and it's not quite here yet. But in the future, again, as a future potential, we are on track to staying on track. So again, these new ones, we have 11, 22, we have all these new beginnings coming in. A new paradigm, new earth, new shift, right? A new way of actually thinking, a new way of actually bartering and trading, instead of with the monetary system. Or a bunch of them. Okay, we still have this one came out sideways. I'm going to turn it actually down. All right, so we have on this other template right now. So we have this completion coming in, right? This end of this kind of self-sabotaging energy, more of this, what we're seeing, right? Seeing energy. Because it's more of the 3D world, and we can see the 3D world. So this is actually 10 being the light of the world. Again, this completion is coming in so that they can be that light in their world now. Again, this healing coming in. We have the waterfall, which is the 6 of Forces, meaning, and this is the past, right? This is something that they want, again, what even the shadow work, it's what we kind of go into, right? We go into shadow work to be more of this light within us. And again, neither one is good or bad at this point, but we're seeing this in the 3D world, this light in this world filtering in, right? And even in the past, it's like, what is it that is bringing in the light. And what we're seeing is we got this in the present, the six of forces, the waterfall. Again, this more of this, instead of letting the water fall, it's almost in a way wanting to control it, right? We want to control the emotional layers if you look at water being emotion, but the six of forces itself being forces in general. We have water as a flowing emotional energy, ego energy. And again, this kind of control that they're seeing, again, we want to be in control of that light in our world, right? To be a part, be in control of the reality space. And we do see a lot of the collective who are literally looking at the 3D as more of this controlling type aspects. First and foremost, the only people that we can control in this world is ourselves. Once we understand that, once we start looking at the common threads between people, we can actually start seeing that, again, there is really no enemy or division. It's what other people are putting in as control through their ego that is happening, that's coming through, because they're not able to control emotions. So in the present, they're getting an influx. It's almost an imbalance. I keep getting the sense like it's, again, they're going through an emotional layer of reflection. It's waterfall, it's often reflection. This trying to control the flow of it. The waterfall is not falling down, and they're not letting it fall down. They're in a way trying to push it down, right? They're trying not to be intimidated by it. They don't want the pool to be placid in the middle of their own reflection. And some of that is because they're in their own karmic trend. Seeing that as well. This card came out again. It was sideways. So I'm gonna actually take it in as a sideways card right now, meaning that they're coming out of this karmic trend. They're actually going through this particular maze in a way. And coming into unity, and this is their future potential. It's coming out of it, right? And I feel like it's more of this, it's a 50-50. It's a slow kind of burn. And some people, to be honest, some people are not here to be awake. Some people here are simply the cowbell in the symphony. Some are just extras in the story to help us out, to help give us those messages. It's not to say that their purpose or importance or worth is any less or more than anyone else. It just means that what they are doing is actually still helping. It's actually still part of the story, right? So there's this shift, this halfway, right? This even Four of Scrolls being a balanced number, this protection layer that they're coming into. And this karmic trench is slowly overturning in a way. It is slowly coming out of it. I'm going to read the energies in between. So I'm going to draw 4 more cards, actually 3 more cards. For the energy, it's the past, present, future, of the in-between path, right? The one that's down the middle. And then I will give a future reading, or a future message, I should say. I don't usually like using timestamps on any of my stuff, because those are quantum traps, time traps. I don't do time trap questions in the reading. But I will give out messages for potential to help those on each path, but also to help to convert on unity. So we're looking for these energies in between in the interactions to help this middle path. This, again, it's an inverse reflection. So as some are being more spiritually guided, again, being on track, those that are now following this other path are starting to see that track. They're starting to come out of that karmic line. They're clearing their karma out this way. And they're learning that, again, it's not about controlling that way the water flows, but actually letting it flow, right? Okay. So this came out the other day. I did shuffle these before. So the energies in between, there's the past. I actually got 3 cards. The energies in between right now. Very power, again, our own personal power, but it's completion of power, being number 9. Now, I'm going to actually say this also represents some of this anger coming through. Some of us have felt this anger coming through, both from the push and pull from other side. Again, if we're all the way to one extreme, your people on the yin side are looking at the people on the yang side and seeing that they're an enemy. People on the yang side are looking at the people on the yin side and seeing that they're the enemy. There's no enemy. Again, it's us playing the game. It's us playing the part. It's us in the show, right? So we can write the script however we'd like. And if we don't like what we're seeing, then we change the script. We rewrite the channel. We change the channel. We write a better story. So this power, this is personal power, this is completion of power. This is what we're seeing in the past in a way, between different aspects, but also this completion in a way for both of them down the middle path. Each one is completing their own path right now. Some of us are building the heaven space here. We're building our foundations here, right? The architect part. And other ones are actually completing their karmic lines here so that they're able to converge in the middle and have this unity power. And I'm saying unity because 22, another master number came out, which is air, the present one. It's in motion. So we're not stagnant. As much as we may feel that we're stagnant and it's not moving enough, some of us have had vision, some of us have been in the spiritual side of things for quite a while, and they feel like they just want things to end. It's taking the action, the balance. Remember, 22, right? So the divine feminine and masculine, yin and yang, on the one side, and also the divine masculine and feminine, yin and yang on the other side, come and converge in the middle to make 22. That is emotion. That is happening right now. It's happening in air. So think of air as being, again, this igniter for this power, right? For fire. And what we're seeing in a future sense is the mountain of clarity. It's a 7, 16, which is actually 7 right now. So we have this swift moving energy. It's not stagnant as much as we think it is, and nothing's moving. We think it's not going anywhere. It is. It's, again, play on each side. We're playing each side of the chessboard. We're actually playing ourselves on each side. So the best way to actually win a chess match in one move is to have somebody else to sit down in the beginning of the game and have them put their king and flip it over. To not even play. And now if you're playing your ego, because most of us, again, are playing with the control in our own spaces, and some are putting that control onto other people, saying that they must live in a certain way, or must use the monetary. Again, all of that is control on somebody else. So because of that control and that ability right now, we're getting this playing against each other. It's a tug of war. So instead, go down the middle path. We have the future sense, which is 7, which is the balance. All 7 chakras, right? 7th heaven. And 8 would be the infinity, which would be in a way of union between them. It makes me want to actually want to draw more card for again. Let's see what the unity looks like. Let's see. I would do, like I said, I would do a time thing on it, but a lot of us have been feeling more of this in the fall. And I want to say, in the autumn, I should say. I want to say, though, as these destruction patterns come into play, the creation patterns are being played at the same time. Energy cannot never be destroyed or created out of nothing, right? So as something is destroyed, something else is created to keep that balance in play. So as we're going through it, and some people are seeing the destruction of their 3D spaces, that which reality they may be manifesting in their space. Some of us, again, are seeing this creation of more energy to create in, to actually create a space for people to come to so that fear isn't there, right? So we're seeing the clarity of the mountain, right? The ascent to the mountain. The actual mountain itself, the sturdy, the stability of it, and the clear energy of it. Those that are this comfortability where this woman is actually sleeping here. She's actually sleeping in a steady stability while she's safe, she's comfortable there. And this is coming through because it's have that moment to breathe. And please take that moment to breathe. A lot of us are always going, and we don't know how to stop, right? Okay, the 2 cards actually come out for this union. So I have 44, which is the biome, connection. So every union and connection. 24, which is change. So a change in the connections, right? A change in the biome is in the way, again, it's our whole community, right? The change in the connection of it. 44 being a very stable number, again, another master number. We also have 24, which is actually 6. Ironically enough, it's also my lucky number, which is 24. In the reverse would be 42. But it's 6, which is a very balanced number again. 6 is being, it's more of this, instead of this juggling. And since this card came up right, this is change in the winds, right? What she's doing is she's allowing this change to happen. She's not being pulled by it. She's actually creating it to actually pull in. You can see the little raven on the bottom here, on the left, right? She's actually pulling this change in herself. So this is the change in how we connect with people, and this is also the change in the union, reunion. Some of us are in twin flame relations or even soulmate relations, and we're on this path. This is actually going to change how we come together, right? And even come together in a community sense. Because again, as we're going through this 3D template here, right? It goes in very much in the 3D and what they can see, what they can feel, what they can taste kind of mentality. And when we have those that are more into the spiritual side, the connections between people, the connection itself between these worlds, it is changing. And that paradigm is changing. That connection is coming through. So I'm going to give some time here for the collective. I'm gonna actually do three. I'm gonna do one for the connection in between, the actual reunion, union, the twin flame union, whatever you want to call it, the paradigm, the actual path connecting. And I'm gonna do one for each one of the templates being played out here, whether that is those that are more into the spiritually, maybe more spiritually awake. Like I said, neither one is wrong or right. And those that are in their own karmic, in their own karmic cycles, and they're beginning to see the shift in the world and wondering where it's going. I'm actually going to cut this. You're like, more than what we three guys, right? This. So pay attention to the energetics. Again, we're having this power influx, right? Power, volcano, very explosive energy. That was in the past, and it's coming to completion right now. So if you're feeling any of those ripple backs, just pay attention to the energy and why you're feeling it. Actually sit down and introspect. Again, it's in motion. It's not something stagnant. And it's bringing this clarity in, right? On this middle path. Again, we are all merging together. So us versus them mentality, it's not going to be us versus them. It's going to be unity. So I have you are unlimited. What you can create is unlimited. Again, those mostly in the spiritual. Don't even limit yourself to some of the spiritual. There are spiritual teachings out there that are not quite. This number 12. So I got it 3D, right? 3D. Mind, body, soul, healing. Don't limit yourself. The sky is not the limit, right? What we create is unlimited. Unlimited pool of possibilities. I'm going to this one. I'm going to draw the last one for them. So I have 5. Again, you are being called into service. Believe in your own guidance. This is the change. The change for the ones more seeing in the 3D aspect or experiencing the 3D aspect. Again, it's their experience as well. Every path is valid. They're seeing a change. They're seeing a shift in it, right? In the paradigm itself. And being called into that service, right? A lot of us maybe could be doctors, could be nurses, even called into that service of, okay, what are we seeing that is changing and shifting? More of this holistic approach. More people are actually going to foraging and homeopathy and natural things to actually heal. So this change coming in it affects both collective, right? It actually affects the collective, those that are experiencing more of the spiritual side, and those that are actually seeing more of the 3D side. So, just need one for the middle path, right? So let's see where we merge and how this unity happens. Is the message for both paths as we converge down the middle. Again, I'm doing these specific grades because some of us are beginning to upgrade, level up, and some of the older tarots, not to say they're not, but they're just on a different channel with each of different people. So those that are out here that are looking for something a little bit more in depth, a little bit more about what the reality space really is going on and how things are playing out. Again, manifestation in general, because we're manifesting our reality. We are going to see that change a little bit of the tarot. Okay, so what I have is 31, which is 4. It's embrace the dark. Shine your true light upon this earth. That is a message to close out. 4, again, embracing the dark. A lot of us do not embrace our shadows, right? but we also don't understand that we are shining our true light upon this earth on both sides, regardless of the fact that, again, if we're in a karmic, we may not be introspecting, we may be looking at the reflection of ourselves, right? Regardless if we are or not looking at that. It's asking us to, again, embrace both sides of this. This does create the contrast between, again, in the world that you see. Without that contrast, we would not be able to see, right? We would only have that intuitive side. We would want to create something to actually be able to understand what we're experiencing. So embrace the dark part, because the dark is just as important as the light. And when you do, you shine your true light upon this earth. You become to know yourself and you ignite inside. So I'm going to leave that message for the collective right now. And if anybody is interested in any kind of readings, you can message me. I am booked for the next couple weeks. But you can message. I will leave my email address on here. I may also be doing a live tomorrow. This is for July 4th reading as well. But I may be doing a reading, a live one on July 4th on Facebook. Please tune into that. Project through our Relatively Speaking on Facebook, Relatively Speaking 2020, which it has a 2020 at the end. And you will, you can get some live readings in there. And I may not actually use most of the cards because when I do these library readings or soul readings, I don't actually require the tarot cards for this. But most of this is what we've been talking about for quite a long time with a few different people and such. So again, if you guys are looking into, the person, some people are in like looking and seeing that if their other significant other, their soulmate, their twin flame is in a third party relationship. Oh, it's a karmic and all this. Okay, let the story play, right? It has importance, it has relevance. Let the story play the way it was supposed to, because it is their experience, it is their path. And to deny somebody their free will of that path and experience, it is to putting us in the karmic path, right? We're putting us into a karmic situation right now, because we're exerting control over somebody else's experience and story in their life, instead of celebrating, celebrating that even if they're not with us, the unconditional love part is that we can love somebody unconditionally, meaning even if they're not in our lives. I know that they're happy and they're living their life, if they're experiencing their life, regardless even if they are happy or not, but if it's their choice, we still love them unconditionally. Most of us don't understand our own patterns, so when we look at ourselves and look at our patterns, then we can therefore understand how to work ourselves, right? To heal ourselves, to actually take those steps into our higher selves, and not be so dependent on other people for things, right? And have that independence, the complete independence in our life, to be able to experience without having so much time down. So experiencing true freedom, right? That freedom is coming in. And a lot of us are in different, or experiencing different kinds of time things. And I do want to say this, I'm going to throw this out there. Death isn't what people think it is. So even if we miss that person because they're not in 3D sense for us to talk to them, like sit and actually talk to them, they're on another timeline. So what happens is somebody literally closes their eyes here. Again, energy cannot be created or destroyed. They actually take their soul energy and actually goes into another timeline that will converge with us later. So nobody is actually truly lost, right? Nobody's actually, it's not a goodbye. It's a see you later. So that isn't what we think it is. It doesn't mean we stop learning. It doesn't mean we don't stop not having an opportunity. It just means in these particular nows that we are in, that person is not quite present. They wake up in another timeline, another multiverse in the universe, and they're able to converge with us later on. And I will say that immortality is a real thing. Energetically, energy is a real thing. Healing is a real thing. Even our own health is energy healing. So again, I also do energy healings as well. And you are more than welcome to join any of those sessions. I will be setting them up. If you're in the Ontario area, specifically more into the Brantford, people in the central areas in Canada, you're more than welcome to join and come to a creative space or a community that is being created. If you're not, we can do this remotely as well. You can find me through Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and also through this particular um, actual. You can find me in this particular actual YouTube channel at the moment. So, again, I thank you for allowing this reading and allowing for this messages to come through and allowing me to read for you as well. Again, join your community. Get out there and join your communities. Go out there and create a community. Be a part of something other than even expand our world, right? And we do have this wide internet here to connect on. So you're more than welcome to join us. And stay tuned for more podcasts and check out Laura's her YouTube channel as well. And stay tuned for more talks from us. And you can catch a lot of us onto Facebook and whatnot. And some of us are fighting the good fight. Some of us are creating the good fight. We're creating a good space. And all of that converges in itself. So, great message tonight. Don't forget, again, love your neighbor, right? See you all one time and love your neighbor because you know all the time. Because we will be converging on you very soon. Feel it and out. Much love to you.